This is the 2013 Father of the Year Awards, and I'm happy to be your MC tonight. My name is Kelly DeMarco. I'm an MC at KCRA 3, and I'm very happy to be back as your MC this year. Thank you. This is such a wonderful event. Welcome to those of you who this is your first time being here. I was explaining to a few of you a few moments ago that this is a real tearjerker. I was trying to hold myself together last year and get through all the wonderful videos that Kristen and the folks here put together. So we'll get to those nice videos of our Fathers of the Year in just a few minutes. But again, this is just a wonderful event to recognize such wonderful dads and people doing good in our community. I know that with my job, I report on a lot of bad news in our community, and it's nice to look at the good that happens in Sacramento. So I want to give first, let's give a round of applause to our 3 Fathers of the Year honorees. I'm going to go ahead and introduce one by one. If you could please stand up. Let's start with Chuck Supple, parole agent with the state of California. Look at that spotlight. The next honoree, Daniel Zingali, Vice President of the California Endowment. That was a professional Miss America wave. That was great. He's used to this. He has a fan club that's this side of the room. And our third nominee tonight, Dr. Roy Perez, President and CEO of RPM Strategies. He's got the hat. We're going to have a dance-off later. This is going to be perfect. So again, congratulations. So wonderful to be here. I want to invite up to the stage Event Chairman Dan Savage. He's the Chief of Staff for Assembly Member Audrine Mazarian. Come on up.
Wow, this is about the most unruly crowd we've had this early in the evening since I've been doing this for about 6-7 years now. So anyway, I want to thank, I can't see any of you now, but I do want to thank you all for being here. And I promise it really will be an evening you won't forget. This is not your traditional rubber chicken dinner that you've all been to in your professional career. But before I go any further, I do want to announce some of the past fathers that we have honored who are here tonight. City Councilman Alan Warren is here. John Garcia, I think, is right over here. Richard Costigan, I don't know if Richard's made it yet. And I know Tony Beard is here, Senate Sergeant at Arms Tony Beard. And thank you all for your continued support, particularly Richard and John Garcia, who are also on the Father's Day Council with me and are really instrumental in helping me and Kristen Starkle from the ADA put this event together. I also want to recognize up at the top of my remarks, Assembly members Morel, Nazarian, Hernandez, and I believe, I don't know if he's here yet, but former Lieutenant Governor Cruz Bustamante is here on behalf of Roy Perez. So it's great to have all of you here. Now the Sacramento, the Father's Day Council is part of a national organization. Actually, our New York affiliate had their Father of the Year dinner, I believe, last night. And our mission is twofold. One is to identify and recognize exceptional fathers in our community. And I think you'll see after tonight we've picked some exceptional fathers. And two, and equally as important, is to raise funds to benefit the American Diabetes Association. So 100% of the proceeds that you have all provided to us tonight from this awards dinner benefit the ADA and our mission, which is to improve the lives of all people living currently and affected by diabetes, but ultimately to prevent and cure diabetes. And that is the goal, is prevention and cure. So all of your support really means a lot to us. Now, nearly 26 million people are currently living with diabetes, and I think it's really phenomenal that Daniel is here tonight because of all the work that the endowment is doing with their campaign to stop diabetes. 79 million people in the United States are pre-diabetic, and almost 2 million new cases are diagnosed each year. The spread of diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, is growing at an alarming rate. However, the reason I'm here personally is because in October of 2007, my 13-year-old son, who's now 19, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. His pancreas just stopped producing insulin. No rhyme, no reason, didn't know why. And so that kind of thrust us into this world. And so that means that every single day, 4 to 6 times a day, he takes a sharp needle, basically, and pricks his finger, puts it on a test strip, tests his blood, and then, depending on what the reading is, he injects himself with the insulin that he needs every single day. And he and countless numbers of people do this every single day. And I just did the rough math before I came over, and I figure roughly he's done this procedure over 10,000 times. And so for us personally, and that's why I want to thank you from a personal level, for us personally, your support here tonight and for the ADA means a lot, because the quest for a cure is really an important thing. And although diabetes is manageable and one can live with it, and they can live a long, productive life, Sean always wants to tell me, make sure that I say that whenever I speak publicly about diabetes, that, it's not a fetter on him. Sports, guitar, all the drums, all the activities that he does, you can live a long, productive life. But on the other hand, diabetes is still the leading cause of blindness, amputations, kidney failure, and it's a major contributor to heart attacks and stroke. So we've got a long way to go in this country to deal with those issues. And those are hard facts to come to grips with as a parent when you get the call that your doctor says, oh yeah, we did the test and he's diabetic and we're rushing him. You have to take him to the hospital and admit him to the ICU. But it's really hard when you're a 13-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid or a 5-year-old kid or a newborn, and you're struggling with that. So on behalf of the ADA and my family, I really want to thank, and I know we had the names up here of the sponsors before, but I really want to thank the major sponsors before we get on with the program. So at first, and feel free to clap, the California Endowment, Kaiser Permanente, U.S. Bank, Novo Nordisk, McDonald's, and Mercury Public Affairs. And I also want to acknowledge the following long-term sponsors who have been with us year in and year out, regardless of who we're honoring. Anthem Blue Cross, Molina Healthcare, Sutter Health, Pharma, the California Optometric Association, Farmers Insurance, and I really want to make a special mention of ATV Video Productions, especially Dave Hull and Jason Norix. They're back here in the corner with their whole crew. They put all these videos together. They go out to the houses. They interview the fathers. They interview the spouses, the kids. They do all the editing. They come here in the evening. They do an incredible amount of work, and they do it all for free. It's their thing, and we could not make this happen without them. So we have a really special relationship with them. So, and lastly, I know I'm doing a lot of thank yous here. It sounds like a Tony speech. I also want to thank Patrick Dunlap, who is the executive director of our chapter of the ADA, and Kristen Starkle, whose event this is that I work with, along with Richard and John. So, and lastly, before we get on to the program, I want to call your attention to 2 items on the table. On each table, and I think we have multiple copies. One is a nomination form, because I know after you've seen this program, you will all have fathers who you think that is worthy for our Father's Day Council to nominate and to honor. So we have those forms. Please fill those out. There's all kinds of staff running around that will be glad to take those off your hands. And equally as important, not that you haven't given enough, but we have contribution envelopes on the table. So after you've seen the program, if you feel so inclined, and we hope that you will, checks, credit cards, promises of payment at a future date, we'll take any and all of it, cash, anything. So with that, I'd like to have Kelly come back up here and we'll start the program and honor these great dads. Thank you.
So we are very lucky to have a lovely speaker here tonight who has done so much for ADA over the years. She is a pediatric endocrinologist at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. She has done clinical care, research, and advocacy in the diabetes field for over 30 years, and she was the president of the National Diabetes Association in 2003. So help me in welcoming Dr. Francine Kaufman.
Good evening, everyone, and I just want to say how absolutely thrilled I am to be here with you tonight to honor fathers and also to support the American Diabetes Association. As Kelly said, I have been a practicing pediatric endocrinologist for over 30 years. You'd think by now I could actually do it for real, but I continue to only practice. And in my role, I have had the opportunity over these 3 decades to watch immense advances in diabetes care, diabetes research endeavors, and in advocacy to support people and their families who are affected by diabetes. And those advances have been made by individuals. They've been made by, in some way, all of you tonight, and I hope in the past and in the future, rooms filled with people just like you who have opened their hearts and fortunately also opened their wallets to support the American Diabetes Association. And in that endeavor, tonight we're here to really honor fathers. Now, I don't want mothers to feel slighted in any way, but tonight's really about fathers. And I will tell you, as a pediatrician and as a diabetes specialist, I have met so many fathers over these years who have played such a critical role in their children's lives in a myriad of ways, but when their child has diabetes, an involved, concerned, and proactive father makes all the difference in the world. In fact, a few years ago, when we looked in our clinic to try to find what is associated with a really good diabetes outcome for a child, the number one thing we found was that there were 2 parents involved. And of course, that usually means that there will be a father somewhere coming to the clinic appointments, asking their child about their blood sugar levels, and helping them manage their disease. Because managing diabetes makes all the difference in the world. And the American Diabetes Association, along with many researchers and clinicians around the world, have worked really hard to enable people to manage this disease, to check their blood sugars, to take their insulin, to understand how to balance their lives. And when they do, well, the really good news is they can become Supreme Court justices. They can become pop stars, movie stars, whatever they want to be. And over the last 30 years, we have watched that success rate build and build and build. And it builds because of evenings like tonight and the support given to the American Diabetes Association. Well, I just want to share 2 stories about 2 of what I think are remarkable fathers who have children with diabetes. So one of them I had the opportunity to meet at our family retreat in Southern California, sponsored in part by the American Diabetes Association. And at that family retreat, we take the kids with diabetes, we take the siblings off in another area. We have a session for mothers, and we have a session for fathers. So that year, I was in charge of the fathers' sessions, and they walked in all different sizes and shapes with all different kinds of personalities and concerns and approaches. And as soon as we sat down, a father raised his hand and said, I got to talk. I've just got to talk. I've got a really big problem, and I need your help. Well, it turned out when his 5-year-old son was diagnosed with diabetes, he felt so bad about it that he decided he would take a shot of, fortunately, saline twice a day to show his solidarity with his son. He told his 5-year-old son that he had diabetes too, and that they would take shots until a cure was found, and that they were in this together. Well, now his son was almost 7, and he was pretty tired of taking 2 shots a day, and he did not know how to get out of this. So in this big circle of fathers, and there was a lot of discussion and a lot of planning and problem solving, the decision was made that when we got back down from family camp, we would have a session at the hospital with some mental health support and tell this now almost 7-year-old that in fact his father never had diabetes and that he did this to support him. And of course I was going to be in charge of all this, so we had a lot of phone calls, a lot of angst, and the day finally came when we all got together and the family marched in, led by this almost 7-year-old, very, very precocious little boy. We all sat down and a little humming and hawing, and I did an introduction, and finally the little boy raised his hand and he said, "Is this about the fact that my dad's been taking a shot of water twice a day since I was diagnosed? Can somebody please tell him to stop that?" So after all that, the father we actually all started to cry, to the realization that this boy knew all along, that he was aware that his father hurt so badly when he was first diagnosed that all he could do was offer his support in that way. So it was a very happy ending and a little bit different than another father I'm going to tell you about. So I've had the wonderful and very challenging opportunity to be working in Haiti for the last 4 years. I go down a couple times a year, and we run a camp for children with diabetes there. And in fact, again, the American Diabetes Association has helped us out in this endeavor in Haiti. So families come to this camp as well, and one session we had, a very, very concerned father came, and in Creole and through a translator and through all the problems, and I can't even begin to tell you the problems that exist for anybody in Haiti, let alone a child with diabetes in Haiti. The father told me that he finally has accepted that diabetes doesn't go away. He realizes that there is diabetes and it is going to persist on this planet, and it's going to persist for people in Haiti. But that he cannot bear the fact that his son has to face this, so he wanted to go to a witch doctor and through voodoo have the diabetes transferred from his son to himself. And he asked if that would be possible. And when I told him that, boy, if any parent, if any mother or any father could take such a burden from their child, they certainly would, he started to cry and said, if we can't figure out how to get rid of it, can't we at least take it away from children and his child in particular? So I tell you about these 2 fathers. I could tell you about the thousands and thousands of fathers I've had the opportunity to meet as a pediatric endocrinologist who work hard, who support their families, who problem solve, and who are there along the journey of this very difficult but manageable disease so that their children can grow up to have every dream that they may dream, whether it's to become a Supreme Court justice or a pop star, come true. So I want to applaud our fathers tonight, thank them for all that they do for their family, their community, and by being here tonight for the other fathers who face raising a child with diabetes. So thank you all. And now I want to thank all of you in addition for supporting the American Diabetes Association. We've come a long way. When I first started my career almost 30 years ago, all we had was insulin from animals. All we had to check somebody's progress was to look at the sugar content in their urine. And now we're at the vista of many, many new drugs and agents and understanding and perhaps the cure through an artificial pancreas or a replacement of the beta cell, the insulin-producing cell of the pancreas. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there, I don't know, sometime in the future. And we're going to get there because there's rooms filled with people just like you, willing to support the research, the advocacy, and the care given by people for people with diabetes. So I thank all of you for your commitment to your communities, perhaps to your families, to yourselves, and I thank you for supporting the American Diabetes Association. And I'm just going to end with this one comment that when my own children were young, one of them once asked me after an evening like this that we dragged him to, he said, "You know what, Mom, I don't get it. Are we for or are we against diabetes?" So I just want to say to all of you, and I'm sure you're aware, that we are for every person who is affected somehow by this disease, and we are committed to particularly that one father in Haiti to figure out someday how to eradicate it from our universe. So I thank you all very much, and I thank you for supporting the American Diabetes Association.
And that's why we're here tonight. Thank you so much for flying up from Los Angeles. She will also be the MC at this same event in Los Angeles tomorrow night. And as she mentioned, there are events like this around the country. We are trying to raise money tonight. So again, make any kind of donation that you can on those envelopes on your table. And the silent auction is out there. There's wine and trips and pictures, all sorts of things. If you want to bid on that, this is your last chance. We'll take a little break, eat some great dinner, and then we'll come back and recognize our dads. So I do need to mention that the auction is just about done. There are some people hovering out there, but please, if you are interested, Father's Day is coming up, some really great deals out there, and of course, all the money is going to ADA. So if you want to make your bids, this is the last chance. It's a nice little Vegas getaway and some great giant stuff. And so anyway, get out there. They're going to be closing that in just about 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and introduce our honorees tonight. If everyone would please take their seats. All right, so our 2013 Sacramento Fathers of the Year. I'm going to talk a little bit about our first two, and then we'll roll the beautiful bean footage, as they say. So our first honorees are Daniel Zingali and Chuck Supple. Chuck Supple and Daniel Zingali first became parents in 1998 when adoption by LGBT couples was legal only in Rhode Island and the District of Columbia where they lived. Today, they are proud fathers of 18-year-old Link and 13-year-old Carl. And I'm very excited for those speeches. So prior to becoming a peace officer, Chuck served Governors Gray Davis and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the areas of service and volunteerism and juvenile corrections. And Daniel recently created the California Endowment's Health Happens Here campaign to prevent illness like type 2 diabetes. And I think the best part, this year, Chuck and Daniel celebrate 32 years together. Love that. So let's take a look at Daniel and Chuck's wonderful family.
Danny has been a wonderfully special boy. As a child, delightful, easy to raise, honestly.
And my wife asked her doctor if she could have a baby on my birthday, and Dan was born on my birthday, May 24th. So we have the same day. And he's my baby son, born on my birthday, and I'm very proud of all of his accomplishments. And it just touches my heart. When I'm close to him, I'm thrilled.
When Danny first told me that he and Chuck were going to adopt a child, that was breaking news, honestly. We had never thought about it. They had never mentioned it to us. And I had some concerns. Most of my thoughts were about Danny and Chuck. Great guys, love them. Parents, think about that. So I started thinking about a baby, a grandchild. That was really good, all positive. So then I began thinking about the qualities that Dan and Chuck both had, how the likenesses, the things that any child would benefit if it were offered to them. Any person would probably benefit. Just their very nature, their very personalities, who they were. So I kind of started changing, and all of a sudden I found that I was excited, seeing them differently as I had seen when I first got the news from Danny.
I admired his parenting, what he and Chuck, the way they parent their children. And I just sit and I admire. They're never too busy. If the boys come up to talk to them, want to ask a question, they're never too busy. They welcome their son. And that thrills me to show that they're so sincere parents, loving parents. And he's teaching his sons to be independent like they were. And that's really enjoyable for me as a grandfather for the boys and a father to him, that he's carried it on. His life, the way he was independent, he's moving on to his sons. He's inspired them to be independent, to be able to make decisions. And that's wonderful. That's almost natural. It's almost a gift. And I'm very, very, very proud to be his father.
I admire my dads because they've helped me grow up, and I think without them I'd just be pretty much lost, and that's why I admire them.
I admire my dads because they can be really funny at times, while other times my dads can be like really serious.
That couple, those wonderful young people, have so many qualities that anybody would want their families to have, would try and maybe get some of them themselves, and they're just special people. They have so much caring, so much tenderness. They show love everywhere. Patience, discipline, intelligence, common sense. I just think that they're two people so much alike, and they have so much to offer.
The word father for me is something that took on meaning kind of late in life. I was 36 years old when Link came into our life. Chuck and I had been together for 15 years at that point, and we're pretty happy with our lives, and didn't really expect to become parents. And through a unexpected turn of events, I became a father, and it turned out to be the most fun, most difficult, and best part of my life.
Family means sharing our lives together and sharing our experiences as we grow up from childhood, grow old as parents, and being there for each other, both in the good times as well as in the bad times.
When I'm asked what lessons I hope my children will learn from me, the first thing I think about is how much I've learned from them. My kids have really taught me not to be so focused on myself, but to focus on others. That's been a real gift. I learn things from them all the time. They're really interesting people. I hope, my parents gave me some good values that I hope I've been able to pass on, and we've been blessed that our kids have also had time with our parents. So some of those family values of caring for others, compassion, I think are really important. Gratitude, I think is really important. If I had to think, what's the key to happiness, I think gratitude is probably it. So I always try to help my kids keep in mind when they have disappointments or might feel envy that there's always more to be grateful for.
When I found out I was going to be a father, I was scared. I knew that fatherhood carried some pretty significant responsibilities, particularly being present for my son, being emotionally present, and I knew that that was going to be hard and that I couldn't be immersed in work. I couldn't be immersed in, other things, my career, or, what have you, and that it was going to be all about being there for my kids, and just knowing that I would be capable of doing that, of being there, and that was the scariest.
Probably the most important things that they've taught me is my manners and how to make friends and kind of how you should approach people to be nice and stuff.
I think Daniel's a great father because he is very patient and he is firm, but at the same time he's very loving. When I don't know how to respond to a situation, I know that I can always turn to him, and together we can think through it.
Charles is also my son. We feel he's as much a son as anyone. And he's also the same respect I give Charles, I give my son. He's the same type of parent. They've always been very good together, and I want to include Charles as my son. However, I just love them. I love them both. And they've given me a joy of life. Like I say, I'm 89 years old, and what do you want out of life? The happiness for your children, your family, and success. I'm a businessman 50 years of my life, self-employed. That means nothing. That doesn't give me any joy as much as the joy of my children around me and their accomplishments.
3 words to describe my dad's are unique, friendly, and awesome.
Thanks for raising me and being able to teach what you know to me over the years.
And it's a joy. It's like you say, what you're grateful for nothing more grateful than to see your kids not only successful, but happy successful. That's the important thing. Success is one thing, but being happy with your success and your life and your family, that's success and that's accomplishments.
Message for Danny and Chuck. You two guys have absolutely given Dad and I part of our wonderful, wonderful life. Being grandparents is more than we can ever say thank you to. But being the parents you have been makes us so proud. We look at you, 2 guys, wonderful parents. Thank you both so much.
Chuck, as everyone who knows us knows, I'm the lucky one. Thank you for being on this journey with me, especially the adventure of parenthood. You're just awesome. Carl, you are the most interesting person I've ever met, and I've met some interesting people. Thank you for all of your incredible curiosity about the world and life, and making me think about things I never even thought of. Link, thank you so much for beginning my adventure as a father. Coaching your basketball team when you first were getting started is still the most fun I've ever had in my life, and I'm so proud of how you outgrew me in that game. And Mom and Dad, thank you for anything I've done right as a parent. I learned from you guys, and I can never thank you enough for that. And to all of Chuck's family, Chuck's dad and brother and sisters, what an extra gift to have you as a part of my family. And you've been so loving and helpful to our kids. Chuck and I could not have done it without being surrounded by the love of his aunts and uncles and grandparents. And to my brother Tom, you're still my best friend, and you're an awesome uncle. They have way more fun with you than with us, and so it's great to watch you enjoying our kids, especially as they get older.
I want to thank my family for this award tonight. Without them, I couldn't be a father. And Daniel, I want to thank you for believing in my ability to be a good father and pushing me to be willing to accept such an incredible responsibility and to bringing 2 wonderful, wonderful young men into our lives. Carl, you are an absolute blessing in my life and in my family, and I can't imagine living life without you. And Link, I feel the same, that I cannot imagine not having known Link Zingali or having had the opportunity to be your father and to love and learn from you over the course of my lifetime, and I look forward to watching you grow into a man, Carl, watching you grow into a man, and Daniel, perhaps enjoying being grandparents as well.
Well, dads, I think you deserve that award. And I'm not just saying that you deserve it because you're good parents, because I think you've helped me grow up. And you're just really awesome parents, and I love you guys, so thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Carl, on behalf of my brother Link and myself. I just wanted to say, dang it. That my parents are getting the award from the American Diabetes Association, and good luck, and I love you guys. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. When I was a young man in the early 1980s, I didn't imagine myself as a father or having a family with the children of my own. Fast forward 32 years, and I can't imagine having lived my life without my family. I would have missed knowing and loving Link Zingali, and I would have missed knowing and loving Carl Zingali, our two most awesome kids. I would have missed getting to fully appreciate and admire just how wonderful parents that my sisters, Joe and Kate, who are here tonight, and my brother John are. I would have missed knowing my mother and father as much as I could, because in parenting Link and Carl, I have come to recognize that part of me, which is my mom and my dad. And finally, Daniel, I would have missed getting to know the Father in you, which can be inspiring, challenging, motivating, exacerbating, and loving, all at the same time. Link and Carl, Joe and Kate, Dad, Mom, Daniel, thank you for helping me to be the dad that I am today and to become the one to which I aspire. And thank you to the Father's Day Council and the American Diabetes Foundation for the honor, but most importantly, for the opportunity to pause for a moment in our busy lives and reflect on how we are such lucky and grateful dads. Thank you.
So this is a trip, and parenthood for me has been a trip. Fatherhood is a trip. Link, just in the last year, voted for the first time in a presidential election, graduated from high school last week, and served on a jury today. Got called the jury today. And so, as many of you know, when you see milestones like that, it's kind of jarring. And I hear from friends who have children who are older than ours that it never changes, right? They continue to need you. They're still part of your life, all that. But I have this conviction that
Now Link's graduated, he's a man, he's going to be more independent, he's going to take care of himself, he's going to do things on his own, I'm going to be different. And I was thinking about that tonight as I was ironing his shirt for this program. It looks good, right? But this Father of the Year thing is really a trip, and I don't know if you feel this way, Roy, but I feel that, and it's an honor, by the way, Roy and Gloria, to share this with you tonight. It's humbling to see, to learn about you as a father, and but it's like all these little things take on a greater meaning, and in my case, sometimes they take on an irony, right? So, for example, Carl was asked yesterday how he's spending his summer vacation, and he said, I ate McDonald's, watched 5 episodes of Strangers with Candy, and passed out on the sofa for 5 hours. So of course, I'm feeling like the person's thinking, really, Father of the Year? And it's like that with a lot of things, and the pressure peaked for me when the camera crew from the American Diabetes Association came to our home to document us. And so I did my interview, and I kind of ran back to the kitchen. Chuck took my place in the chair to do his on camera. I get back to the kitchen, and the son of one of our home contractors is there. And this guy says to me, out of the blue, you seem like a cool dude. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he goes, you own some property up in Fiddletown, right? You guys have a place up there. And I said, yes, we do. We're cool like that. And he said, I was thinking, you and me, we could grow some awesome marijuana out there. So now, we got the whole Father of the Year thing going on in the next room. And here's the really embarrassing part. So I am thinking, he had me at somebody under 30 thinks I'm cool, right? That hasn't happened. My kids don't think I'm cool. So I'm thinking fast, how do I get out of this and keep the cool thing, my last grasp of the cool thing. So I said, well, Chuck's a peace officer, right? So he's never going to go for this. Can't happen, right? So, but you had the cool part about me, right? So just so you know, if it were just up to me, I wouldn't really have it. And at that moment, this really happened. Officer Chuck comes charging through the kitchen door and says, that lapel mic on you, the crew wants you to know it's still on. Yeah. So my first thank you is to the camera crew for meeting the standards of the NSA and recording but not listening to that conversation. My second thank you is to everyone here for giving us your Wednesday night and your money for the American Diabetes Association, which is more important than it's ever been. Thank you all so much for doing that. Thank you. I especially want to thank my colleagues from the California Endowment who are here. First, for not telling the selection committee about the daily calls from our kids saying there's no food in the house. Thank you for that. Secondly, mostly, you guys are warriors in the fight for equality and against diabetes and to give people a fighting chance against all the things that prevent health from happening. So I'm honored to work with you every day, and thank you for honoring me with being here tonight. And then I just want to give a special thanks to our family members who drove over here from Mill Valley and Oakland and Santa Cruz. My cousin Joe is here. He's a cop too, so I'm in big trouble tonight. And my brother Tom, who's often far away places for his work, like Pakistan, so we're really grateful to have Tom here with us tonight. And just one more shout out to my mom, who you saw on screen. If you haven't seen her tonight, she's easy to find. As my dad will tell you, she's 89 and still the best looking woman in the house. So. I love you, Mom. And about this award, I'm really humbled and honored by it. And I just want to say to you, Chuck, this award is like my heart. It belongs entirely to you. So thank you. Thanks very much.
Wonderful family. I was crying like a baby over there. Thank you so much, Daniel and Chuck. Congratulations again. Yeah, go ahead. And now for you, our next honoree tonight is Dr. Roy Perez. Spotlight's on you. Dr. Roy Perez is dedicated, committed, and passionate about his family and his role as a father. Both his daughter, Paloma, and his son, Angel, have thrived under his guidance and the higher education he fought to afford them. And they're both very successful these days, I hear. Roy and Gloria Malia, his wife and business partner, own and operate a public relations firm, RMP Strategies, that advocates for the health and welfare of the Latino community and small business. So let's take a look at what your family had to say about what a wonderful and inspiring father you are.
Well, I can't say we actually met.
I happened to be a model.
He came out of the curtain with a spotlight on him.
She was out in the audience.
When he did his routine up and down the runway, he came back around and he did another special routine. And I thought, oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
And then later on, introduced myself after the event.
Having a family was Roy's idea.
When I found out I was going to be a father, it was a very powerful moment in my life. It was very emotional.
The exuberance, the dancing, the carrying me around, the babying, me following that, and us going through it together.
Angel, as a little boy, was very bright. And Paloma, you know, she was always Angel's little second mother. I remember on a Halloween, she was dressed as a little angel, and her little brother was dressed as a little devil, and she was taking him to the trick-or-treating, and so she was making him hurry and scolding him to hurry up, and as he moved quickly fast, she stepped on his little devil tail and just popped right off.
Some of my favorite memories with my father growing up would be when he would allow me to come to work with him. He would take me through the halls of the Capitol, introduce me to legislators, show me, you know, how the legislative process works and how he basically does his job.
He would come in, put his briefcase down, and we would reenact something called the Papi Wapol Show. And we would do things like put on costumes, play out different characters, and it was something I really grew to appreciate because as hard as he was working at the time to get a steady income going in for my family, he still made every last effort he could to spend lots of meaningful time with us. And in the process, he really broadened our interests for what we might want to do later on in life.
Something unique that people don't know about my father is how much energy.
Boundless energy. I used to think he was a robot, just didn't sleep.
Just always going, always on to what's next, what's new, what's happening.
In reality, he just has excellent time management. He was the kind of person who was always able to make the most out of all the skills he had.
I think one of the most admirable things about my dad is his genuineness. He's got a megawatt smile whenever he walks into a room.
One of the things that we do is spend Thanksgiving with just the four of us. Travel to
Mexico and enjoy an untraditional Thanksgiving on the beaches of Mexico.
Time together to learn and bond with ourselves. It's just a moment of reflection and sharing and understanding what we did for that year as a family and then what we want to do the following year.
Roy is a beautiful, wonderful man to begin with. He's a great father. To his credit, I have to tell you that he grew up without a father. So who he is, he made up himself.
I think what makes this award special for him is that he's not only been a good father to me, but he's been a good father to the community.
His genuine devotion to his causes, the passion he feels for them, is manifested in his work.
I have received many awards, but being recognized as a father that has done the best he could to be a father.
Charity is important to me and my family because for me, I believe that giving is the only way to make room for receiving.
Charity is very important to my family because we all feel very blessed to be where we are. And again, it is a value that we carry that needs to be instilled in our own children, that they need to really understand that they need to give back.
My grandmother on my father's side actually was diagnosed with diabetes. So I know that the American Diabetes Association is something that's important in our family.
And we know that the mission of the American Diabetes Association is to do research and development and get arms wrapped around this thing, as well as educate people on their own behavior, their own diets, the things that we can do. We eat all the time, but we don't necessarily know how to eat and how these things affect us.
Uncle Roy, I don't know where I would be without someone like you. I don't know where our family would have gone in terms of direction had it been, or not been rather, for a person like yourself, someone that provided that stake in the ground that we could all point to and come back to, that anchor that really made us all understand that there was a home and that you represented that location for us. And I just want to say that you mean a lot to me, that you're very important to me, that I look up to you, I admire you, I respect you, and I have a lot of fun with you at the same time. And I'm glad that you're being honored with this important distinction, Father of the Year.
To my family, to my spouse, Gloria Amalia, to my daughter, Paloma, and my son.
Corazón, there's so many things that I want to say to you right now.
It's gonna be hard.
All right. Jefe, I'm proud of you, and this award is outstanding for you. However, this award alone does not begin to touch the tip of the iceberg to recognize how much you've given the world. I love you and I'm proud of you.
Congratulations, Papi, on being nominated Father of the Year by American Diabetes Association. You're the Father of the Year to me every year, but I think this is really well deserved, and I'm very proud of you. I love you.
I love you, they love you, we love you. And want only the best for you to make it all easier and all better. I love you.
To my family, my spouse, Gloria Amalia, to my daughter, Paloma, and to my son, Angel. You will not know what you have done for me as a person, growing up humble, not knowing if I would ever have a family. You have given me life and the strength, and you're the force that made me go forward and to continue forward. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for being my family. I love you.
Well, first of all, we'd like to congratulate Daniel and Chuck. We are so happy that our families get to share this night together. But tonight, we are so proud to present an award to a man who has given us, my dad crying makes me cry, so much love and support and guidance.
And patience.
Please join my brother and I in congratulating my father, Roy Perez, tonight.
El Jefe.
I just want to echo to Dan and Chuck, it is an honor to be here and share this great evening, being honored as Father of the Year. I know it's humbling and it's fun and it's challenging, but when you have a family that we have, it makes it much easier and certainly shows a lot of strength and to be able to provide the love not only within our own family, but other families in the community, because the family values is the core of our society. And you certainly demonstrated that with your son and your own family, so congratulations to both of you. And that being said, you know, I'm both honored and humbled to receive this recognition, for it is my belief that came from my immediate family and my brothers as well. As it was shared, I did not grow up with a father, but did have brothers that were strong, and their belief is that it is a father's duty to build a home for his family. It is a father's pleasure to provide food, safe harbor, health care, education, guidance, and counsel for their family. And it is father's delight to see his children succeed and flourish and thrive. And finally, it is a father's success to be loved. Beyond any award that my career has bestowed on me, beyond any achievement my work has brought me, beyond any celebration I have enjoyed, it has been my life's honor to be surrounded by my wife, Gloria Amalia, and my beautiful children, Paloma Valentina and Angel Salvador. Because of them, I have known duty, pleasure, delight, but most of all, love. I share this award with them and with my nieces and nephews because they came and joined our family after a tragic accident in the 80s. They are my life and they are my success. And I love them dearly, and I'm glad they joined me tonight. Angelina, to you and your family, I love you. Our family loves you. But in addition to tonight's celebration, I think it's important to keep in mind as well is that the main intent for tonight is to help those who are impacted by this horrible disease called diabetes. Our gratitude goes out to the American Diabetes Association for their dedication and commitment to combating this horrible disease. And although we are fortunate as a family, immediate family, we're not inflicted by this horrible disease, but we understand that it has a huge disproportionate impact in the Latino community, and I plead and I reach out to our Latino community to be involved with the American Diabetes Association, because we have many friends that have been impacted with it. And it is my pleasure to make a commitment to join the American Diabetes Association to help raise funds for those who are working to fight it and those who provide education to help prevent the disease and to bring quality to those who already have it. To all of you that gave today, God bless you, for it is only a nickel or a dime that the association asks for. They will do all the work to help those that need it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Roy M. Perez, and I want to greatly and humbly thank the American Diabetes Association and the Sacramento Fathers Council for this honor with Dan and Chuck to be recognized 2013 Father of the Year. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to redo my makeup before the news tonight. Thank you. Congratulations, really, it has been such a wonderful night. And we do want to thank you for making the donations that you've made. We have raised $100,000 tonight. Yeah. And all the money that we raise goes to diabetes research, education, and advocacy for ADA. So thank you so much. And again, if you can make another donation on your way out, we would more than appreciate that. The auction has been closed, so make sure to grab your items on the way out. And also, if you are sitting here watching and thinking, wow, I know a dad who has made a difference, like the three gentlemen honored tonight, let us know, because we are always looking for honorees for future years. And of course, Kristen has worked so hard in putting this wonderful night together. She's already looking for honorees. In fact, we should give Kristen a round of applause for this beautiful evening. And one more thing. We got your business cards for our last minute auction. So I want to pick a name for Railbridge Cellars, a wine tasting for 8. So let's see here. Bill Spurgeon from Tower Realty, are you here? Come on up, Bill. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful night. Be safe, and congrats again to all the wonderful fathers tonight.